Racism is anti-male. It stems from male-on-male hostility. And to really, point, how true this is, here is an article from a trans man and his personal experiences. This guy, his name is Tristan Cotton 50, Berkeley, California. This is from the Washington Post. Life doesn't get easier as an African American male. The way that police officers deal with me, the way that racism undermines my ability to feel safe in the world, affects my mobility, affects where I go. Other African American, Latino Americans grew up as boys and were taught to deal with that at an early age. I had to learn from my black and brown brothers about how to stay alive in my new body and retain some dignity while being demeaned by cops. One night somebody crashed a car into my neighbor's house and I called 911. I walked out to talk to the police officer and he pulls a gun on me and says, "Stop, stop, get on the ground." I turned around to see if someone was behind me and he goes, You, get on the ground." I'm in my pajamas and barefoot. I get on the ground, he checks me, and afterward I said, "What was that all about?" He said, "You were moving kind of funny." Later, people told me, "Man, you're crazy, you never call the police." I get pulled over a lot more now. I got pulled over more in the first 2 years of my transition than I did the entire 20 years I was driving before that. Before, when I've been stopped, even for real violations like driving 100 miles per hour, I got off. In fact, when it happened in Atlanta, the officer and I got into a great conversation about the Braves. Now the first two questions he asked me are, do I have any weapons in the car? And am I on parole or probation? Haha, check that out. In another paragraph, this is important, there are also ways in which men deal with sexism and gender oppression that I was not aware of when I was walking around in a female body. A couple of years after my transition, I had a grad student I've been mentoring. She started coming on to me, stalking me, sending me emails and text. My advisor and the dean, both women, laughed it off. It went on for the better part of the year, and that was the year I was going up for tenure. It was a very scary time. I felt very worried that if the student I was not returning her attentions, she would claim that I assaulted her. I felt like, as a guy, I was not taken seriously. I had experienced harassment as a female person at in another university, and they had reacted immediately, sending the police escort with me to and from campus. I felt like if I had still been in my old body, I would have gotten more support. He would have, by the way. Now you can go find this article and read the rest for yourself. But I'm telling you now that racism, for the most part, is about attacking outgroups of men. And I'm going to put it to you guys, like, you know yourselves, these alt-righters, when they go on about immigrants, they mean male immigrants. Matter of fact, if, let's say Britain or Denmark or any of these white places, if there was like 2,000 boat people, all beautiful Brazilian women, there'd be a bunch of ugly, pasty-faced, impoverished white dudes running down to the pier, begging them to come home with them. "You can marry me." "Oh, you don't want to marry me? That's all right. I've got this really dirty 10 by 10 apartment that needs cleaning." That's what would go on. And none of these guys would call them immigrants or even refugees. They'd just call them women in trouble and they need help. And they couldn't wait to shack up with these women, no matter how brown-skinned they were. Matter of fact, all you have to do is look at some of these prominent alt-right guys and find how many of them have been caught, with a female partner who was Jewish or mixed race, or let's face it, just another race. And these guys will produce children with these women, and if the children are girls, things are fine with their alt-right buddies because they'll be white enough. But if they're boys, they're scummy, whatever the pejorative they'll use. And they should keep away from their women. Like, that's what it is. That's what racism is. It's about attacking other men, the outgroup of men, and nothing else. This trans man in this Washington article proved that without a shadow of a doubt. And this is why it's so embarrassing to hear men of non-white races thinking they're going to jump on the feminist bandwagon and they're a part of it. They're against the evil white man. The joke's on you guys, because you're an evil, disgusting male like us pale faces. And you're being used. And I think when it gets pointed out, some of you just don't care. You don't even, like typical male fashion, you don't care that you're getting used. You just cling to that, life preserver, which is a rock. Please, ladies, just accept me. I'll gang up with you against these other guys. So typically male. Anyway, to end this off, as a man of self-respect, I recognize exactly what racism is. And any man who tries that, sucking up to the girls by saying, yeah, I'm a minority, I'm like you too, that person has no self-respect. I don't respect him. So get your head out of the clouds. Thank you.